Today, we're going to be talking about why the Chicago Bulls are proving that they are for real this season. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Mazelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about why the Chicago Bulls are for real, even without the full strength this season. And so, the first thing that I think really shows why this team is for real is because they are finding different ways to win. And so just going back to last game against the Sacramento Kings, one of the key stats out of that is that the Kings actually led in fast break points 27-12, but that still did not stop the Chicago Bulls from winning the game. And so I think that this shows you that, yes, this team certainly wants to get into transition, but what they're doing is that they're still playing fast. And if you take the transition away, they are being a bit more efficient now in the half court. And so they're finding a way to really, I think, channel that speed, and they're cutting you up as far as the back cuts and just the constant movement and things like that. And it's wearing teams down to where they have to make a decision because, as you get tired and things like that, then that's where you start to lapse. You're not running back as hard. And that's where the Bulls are able to get some of the transition stuff. They're just simply continuing to push the gas pedal. And I love that. The fact that this team is finding additional ways to win and just going into really what they're doing in the half court. Just looking at this last game, and I think really just throughout the first four games, is I think that they're doing a great job as far as taking advantage of Vooch when he's down below on a mismatch. And so I think that they've done a great job there. I don't think that you could necessarily say that a season ago because there were times where Vooch definitely should have got the touches, but the touches have been there when it's needed to be. The next, I think that this team has just done a terrific job as far as not just going for the home run ball. And so I thought that that was another thing from last season. They were looking to get off a three-point shot all the time, but not this season. They are turning down shots to get to the best shot. And so just really putting it together, finding different ways to win. And so next, this is what I really love about this team is that they never lost focus so far throughout these four games. And I think that what I'm seeing out of that is just mental toughness. And I love that with this team because even when they are down, you can see that the body language from the players is that they are absolutely locked in. You can tell that there's confidence. Just going back to this last game where the team got down by as many as 12, that did not discourage this team. They were able to go out and just really put it together, continue to keep battling and things like that. And so the mental toughness is there. And then next, I just like the fact that you are seeing this team close down well. In each game, we are seeing this team close down in the fourth quarter. They are making the plays that they need to make. And so if it's Trey Jones, if it's Josh Giddey, if it is Vooch, if it's Okoro, whoever, they are making the correct basketball plays in the fourth quarter to go ahead and close things out. And so I think that right there is the mark of a team that is for real by the way that they are closing things down. And so next, I think that the Bulls' best basketball is ahead for them because, you don't have Zach Collins and you don't have Coby White. And so just really starting with Zach Collins, I definitely think that this team is going to take a step forward, with him, because if you go back and you look at the preseason plays, Zach Collins had some very good performances there. And it's just unfortunate that he broke his wrist there in that last game. But I think that he was set to really come on out and just really start off, kind of a lot like how Kevin Huerter kind of finished the season. I felt like that Zach Collins was starting to really catch that rhythm that he had last season. And so I think that this is going to help this team when you're talking about the physicality, and also too, you're going to give this team another player that can actually do some stuff in the paint. He will stretch the floor as far as knocking down three-point shots. And much like Vooch, he is a very good passer at the top of the hub. And so he will find guards and he will find players that are cutting and things like that. We saw that last season. And so, I think that Zach Collins is going to help us there offensively and defensively. Yes, I think that Zach Collins is certainly going to give you a little bit more of a physical presence here. And that's exactly what this team is going to need. I talked about the fact that they are giving up about 64 points at this point in time during this current podcast recording as far as points in the paint to opposing teams. And so if they can just cut that down by another 5, 6, 7 points or so, that's going to help this team. And so I think that Zach Collins will certainly help them there. And then with Coby White, look, I think that Coby White is going to take the lid off of the top of defenses. I think that you're seeing this team just be able to, pretty much shred up teams with the way that they're running them and stuff like that. But now with Coby White being at the end of some of these rotations, it's going to start to hurt defenses, because now I think what's going to happen with this is that if Coby White is spotting up, and you're getting these paint touches and then you're making the passes and stuff like that, and he's getting lost, he's going to get some wide open 3-point shots. And remember, coming into this season, one of his goals is he said that he wants to shoot 40%. And so he is one of these guys that I absolutely bet on. So him, and then Ayo, and then Modest Buzelis, when they say that they want to go out and do something, they are going to do it, along with Josh Giddey as well. I got to throw him in there too. And so I think that Coby is going to come back ready to go, especially if he's getting these wide open 3-point shots. And then on top of that, I think that what Coby White is going to see as well is that he doesn't necessarily have to settle for that. And because defenses are going to be scrambling to him, he's going to be able to now put the basketball on the deck and make a decision to where he can do exactly what he was doing a season ago with Josh Giddey, where they can either draw contact, get to the and ones, because I thought that between the two of these players, they do a great job as far as taking contact and finishing. So you can make just teams pay that way. And also too, look, you can get easier shots. And so I love that about this team. And I just talked about that really with the last point, is that this team is just not settling for 3-point shots. They're doing a lot of different things to win these games. And so, full strength for this team. I think that their best basketball is ahead. And then lastly, just kind of going into really what I was talking about a couple videos ago, just the team is going to shoot the basketball a lot better. And so you saw that in this last game with Modest Buzelis. You saw Modest Buzelis hitting 3-point shots. And I think that Modest Buzelis is going to continue to get these type of looks with this offense, because defenses are scrambling, trying to figure out the Chicago Bulls. And it's not just him. And so he's not going to be at 16.7%. He shot 36.1% a season ago. And I think everything in his game is going to get better. And then on top of that, with Isaac Okoro at 14%, it's not going to happen. I think that he is going to trend a little bit closer to that 37.1% as well. And then, with Patrick Williams and these guys like that, they are going to continue to shoot a little bit better, especially once they get full strength. You get Josh Giddey, Coby White out there, it's going to open things up. And so this team, very much for real. Again, just going back to it, I just love their focus and their mental toughness and the way that they are finding ways to claw themselves back into the games and finish. And then, I love the fact that this team is resilient enough to go out there and say, okay, fine. You're taking away something that we definitely want to do with the fast breaks and stuff like that. We will find another way to beat you in games. And another stat too from yesterday's game was they were able to score 70 points in the paint. And so again, just finding additional ways to win. And lastly, once this team gets to full strength, when you get Coby White, you get Zach Collins back, that is going to take it to another level. Talking about the shooting woes here for some of our players with Modest Buzelis and Isaac Okoro, they're definitely going to shoot the basketball a lot better from downtown. And so is Kevin Huerter. As good as he's played, he was at 23.1%. This is a guy that shot 37.6% with the Bulls to close down after he got traded over to the Chicago Bulls. And so his best basketball as far as shooting the ball is still ahead of him this season. And so a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Just really why I think that this team is for sure for real. And then also got to give a shout out to Coach Donovan, because I think he's doing a terrific job as far as making the adjustments, putting players out there. And I think that one of the other adjustments that I would like to see from Billy Donovan is perhaps maybe you might have to run some zone out there to maybe slow down some of these paint touches and things like that. And also, too, will we see Noe Essengue? Because I do think that if this team does go with Noe Essengue, and he is, kind of doing the same things that Manas Buzelis did a season ago, I mean, that could be a real game changer for this team. And so I'm not saying that he's going to come in and just play a ton of minutes or anything like that. But if he can show that he can handle, 4, 5, 6 minutes or something like that, and he's able to show those flashes and tell Billy Donovan is like, okay, maybe towards the end of the year, you want to throw him out there some more, that would be huge for this team, especially when you're talking about just their plans and how they want to continue to build this identity and really shape the direction of this franchise. Because so far, out of the first 4 games, it looks like that the Chicago Bulls are onto a formula and it's working. But let's see what happens here as they get ready to take on the New York Knicks. And then they're going to take them on twice, actually. And so they'll take them on Friday, and then they'll take them on here Sunday. And so we'll be talking post-game. You guys let me know in the comments here, are the Chicago Bulls for real? Even though it is just 4 games in, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And look, as we always say, go Bulls. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.